All right, guys, I finally made it to Boston. I had some work to do today, but it is sun starting to set already, so I'm not going to get a lot of good light. That being said, I'm still going to get some good photography. Got the X-E5 23 millimeter on right now. Might switch to the 16 because I think I might need that focal length. We shall see. It's pretty tight streets here where I'm at in downtown Boston. But right now, I'm just going to get to shooting before I lose my light, and we can talk about it later. We can talk about it later. All right, one thing I will say with this X-E5 is it's doing the same thing that my X Pro 2 does, which is tends to meter on the high side. So if I have it on, even exposure compensation, auto ISO up to 3200, f4, 500 shutter speed, everything tends to be, the sky tends to be always overexposed when it should just be metering a little bit further down, in my opinion. Now, I am using matrix metering, but I think all the other cameras I own from Nikon don't do that. They tend to meter a little bit, few stops down. It is what it is. All right, let's get back out here before I lose this light. I finally got a little bit of light. See behind me? Just a little bit. I'm doing this real time with you guys because I want you to get, untarnished, real-time opinions. Another thing I'm not a real big fan of so far is where they put the play button at. See where they put the play button up there? It's normally down below, and so it makes it really hard to actually review your file. Since I don't know this camera, I am doing a little bit of that right now, and I'm having to take my hand off of this and put it on the camera and use two hands to hit the play button. It's kind of a pain in the butt. Something I wanted to mention. All right, so far so good. Been out here for about a half an hour, not too long. I'm switched into aperture priority. Just wanted to check that mode out, even though I'm rarely going to use it there. So I have the shutter in A. I have my auto ISO set up to 3200, and I'm using right now f2.8. Let's see if this lens has got some sharpness at its widest aperture. All right, there's a car coming, so let me get going. Another thing I noticed when using it so far for photo, because in video it seemed to be just fine in that test we did last week, but I have noticed that the lens, when you go to like half press the shutter button to focus, kind of pulses a little bit in and out before it acquires focus. Quite often, this lens. Now I'm going to switch to the 16 millimeter soon, but look at those fall colors behind me. Anyway, I'm going to switch to the 16 millimeter pretty soon here and see if I noticed better autofocus with it. We shall see. So far, so good. I'm already halfway through the first battery, though. So always bring an extra battery or two with you. All right, back at it. All right, guys, I just switched to the 16 millimeter. It does not make this camera that much smaller or much bigger, but it definitely makes it bigger. And this is a wider angle lens, but now with these tight streets, I'm gonna be able to get about the same focal length as I'm getting with this lens on the DJI Pocket. Let's see. So that's the view I have with this. Yeah, I have about the same view. I'll take a photo. That way you can see. All right, I just kind of discovered something pretty cool. I went into A here for aperture priority on the shutter, and then when I switched it quickly over to a 15th and an 1/8 of a second so I could get a couple of motion shots, it changed the aperture to another setting, and I was like, that's strange. I went about my day, went about getting a couple shots, then I changed back to aperture priority, and it changed back to the aperture I was when I was in aperture priority, or in the A mode on the shutter. Now that is pretty cool. It has enough smarts to remember all that. That's pretty cool. All right, I'm gonna keep shooting. I got a little bit more light left, I think. Then I'm gonna go get something to eat and come back out afterwards for some nighttime testing. Probably with the 16 millimeter. The street's pretty tight here. We'll see. I have noticed way less pulsing, and it focuses way faster with the 16 millimeter. I just think that's the artifact of having a pancake lens. You know, you're going to have to deal with some trade-offs, and a trade-off is the autofocus is a little weird, you know, a little slow, a little clunky, but that's what you give up with the size. But go up a little bit bigger, get the 35 f2 or the 23 f2, you should be just fine. It's not going to make the camera that much bigger. This is a tiny ass camera. Like, I'm shooting one-handed most of the day. All right, let me get back to it. I'm rambling again. All right. All right, guys, workday's over. I've had a proper meal and a couple of Guinnesses. Ready to get back out there and do a little street photography at night with this bad boy. Let's see what the low light performance is with the f2.8 lens. All right, guys, it's freaking cold out here. It's windy, it's cold, this ain't fun, so I'm going back to the room. I think I've got enough photos to test this, so let's kick it back to future me in the studio, and let's talk about the results and talk about my initial thoughts on the camera. What's up, everybody? Wesley here, back in the studio. I've had a chance to go through all the photos. I've had a chance to look at last week's footage, and that's what I really want to start off with, is last week's footage and my thoughts on the filming. And I gotta say, the footage looks really good. F-Log 2 on the X-E5 performs very well. If you light your studio well, and you understand lighting, you can get a good image out of this camera pretty easily. So, same thing goes with this mic right here, paired with the DJI Pocket 3, which I'm using as a second angle because it's, why not switch it up every now and then? This mic produces very good audio. I do not need my Rode mic, which is tucked away back here. I'll pop it up for you guys to see. I do not need my Rode mic. I'm able to do everything I need to do with just one camera, maybe a Pocket 3 for a second. You don't even need the Pocket 3, really. All I really need is the DJI mic. Pocket 3 could probably get put away. I'm doing it for the 2-angle, in case I want to pull the camera off of the tripod and show the camera to you on the DJI. That's the reason why I'm doing 2 angles. I rambled again. Okay, let's stop. All right, filming. It does only go up to 200 megabits per second. Now, if you need any kind of comparison, the S5 II also goes up to 250 megabytes per second, or megabits per second, so it's not the end of the world for bitrate on the video on the X-E5. The X-H2 goes up to 720, and the Sonys go up to 600 for, just as an example. And if you're shooting in the RAW formats, they go even higher. So 200 megabits per second is not the end of the world. It still produces nice, clean video for YouTube and for other applications. If you're doing professional video work, obviously the X-E5 is not going to be something you're going to be using anyway. You're going to be using something a lot more robust. That being said, I wanted to just comment that I think the video looks really good on this camera, and you don't need a lot of fancy things. So this is week 2 of only using this camera. I have no other cameras pulled out. Everything has been put away. My light stand's been put away. Everything's been put away, and I'm just using this camera and this Pocket 3 and this mic, and that is it. Okay, so that is the thoughts on the video from last week. I just wanted to give you that. Now, thoughts in Boston. I just had one afternoon there, and I wanted to get through and take some photos, do some street photography with the 23mm f2.8, along with also the 16mm, which I'm filming with today. I do find Fuji files almost perfect for me when it comes to editing, my editing style. So the photos turned out fantastic in my opinion. The autofocus and the subject detection seemed to lock on very well. I could put the camera down for a low shot and not really worry about it acquiring the subject, because if there was only one subject walking through, like in that black and white you saw early in the video, it was able to acquire her even from a low shot to the ground without me even looking at the camera. That's something I only really can attribute to Sony bodies in my experience. So that was pretty impressed with that. Now, is it perfect? No, of course not. I saw the autofocus on the 23mm f2.8 Pulse. It would go in and out, trying to find focus, and then it would finally focus. Now, the 16mm didn't quite do that. It was pretty quiet, pretty silent, and it was pretty quick. So didn't see a lot of issues with the more robust 16mm. The pancake lens, you're going to give away something with that design. There's nothing you can do to get around that. Moving on to the IBIS, I believe that the IBIS performed very well. Those slow shutter shots that I took earlier in the video you saw, everything else is in focus minus the folks moving, so the IBIS did its job, and that's all you can ask for with a camera like this. I wanted to talk a little bit about the film sim dial. Now, the film sim dial, to me, is still gimmicky. It's too far to reach with one hand. You have to pull. I'd have to take my hand off the DJI Pocket 3, put it away to get to it with my left hand. Same thing with the play button. Don't like that. So the film sim dial just stayed in C, and I used custom film recipes that I have mapped to the top button right by the shutter over here. That's what I use to do film recipes. I didn't use the film sim dial. I don't know that I will ever use it, to be honest with you. I just think it's a gimmick. Some people might like it. And if you do, drop a comment and let me know. What I can say, I love saying that, what I can say is what I found through trying every single brand over these last 2 years on YouTube. YouTube has gotten me down some rabbit holes. You know, I go down these spec sheets and looking at everything and try, oh, I need to get this. It's got the best of everything, so I need to get this and that and the other. No, you don't. Like, this camera is perfectly enough to do what I needed to do. The XS20 is perfectly enough to do what you need to do. You don't need a Sony a7R5 or a Nikon Z6 III or even a Z5 II, but the Z5 II is the same price as the X-E5, and that's probably what I would recommend you get if you're going if you don't need size. If size doesn't matter, get the Z5 II 100% over this. But if size does matter, like it does for me when I'm traveling, this X-E5 is perfectly adequate for all my needs when I'm traveling, period. That's all there's to it. Unless I'm doing a paid shoot, I don't need anything else but this to do everything I need to do. And of course, and the Pocket 3. I need the Pocket 3 if I'm going to film anything for YouTube, because I want to be able to use the camera to shoot photos while I'm out in the streets. Thoughts on the camera overall, initial impressions. I think it's a great camera. Fuji makes great cameras. It's still overpriced. It's still too expensive for what it is. That 23mm lens, which I thought was going to bring the price down because of the kit, it's a $450 or $500 lens. I don't really like the lens that much. I'm going to use it, don't get me wrong, but it's very clunky, very pulsy, and I don't love that about it. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm a little mixed on the kit. I still think it's a good camera. I still think it's overpriced. I don't like the 23mm. I would advise you to get the 27, which still hunts a little bit, but not quite as bad as the 23mm. Or go with the 35, 23, or 16mm Fujicron type lenses, and those will be great for this camera. Absolutely fantastic. So it's a great camera. I still have 2 more videos to film with this camera and 2 more weeks to get out. I'm gonna try to go out this weekend, and then I'll film a final review on the camera. And that'll be my 4 weeks of use without using any other camera. And then I'll be free to purchase something potentially. That R6 III does look nice. I just don't like this Canon ecosystem with lenses. They lock you into their lenses and you can't use other lenses, but that R6 III does look pretty nice. I know I don't need it. I know I don't. I'm proving to you I don't need it, but we shall see. All right, that's it for this one. drop a comment. Please subscribe to the channel. That's really going to help me continue to do what I'm doing, and hit the like button. All of those things help me continue to do what I'm doing and continue to bring you guys comparisons, reviews, travel vlogs. All right, that's it. Let me stop rambling. The camera is doing a good job so far. I think it does well at filming. I think it does well at the things that I need it to do. I think you would be just fine to get this camera. I would say if size doesn't matter, Z5 II, same price, I would get that over this. But if size does matter, this is a great option, as you can see. All right, that's it. Peace.